Take advantage of the hellos and the goodbyes with your spouse. I want to be treating motherhood like it has value and not like I was just thrown into it and trying to survive.
Hi, I'm Stacey. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm just your normal girl, someone you might be able to relate with. I think family life is very important, and I want to connect with others and share life together.
Hey guys, what's up? If you're new here, I'm Stacey and I live in Cambodia, and today I am going to be talking about my 5 tips for being an efficient mom. It's really more of a mindset thing. It's about being more proactive and less reactive. I want to be treating motherhood like it has value and not like I was just thrown into it and trying to survive. I want to treat motherhood more like it's a career or my profession. So a little disclaimer, this is what works for me, and so what works for you may be different. But I just want to give you some encouragement, give you some ideas and some fresh incentive. So my tip number 1 is streamline your morning routine. Keep it simple. Keep your hair, and if you do makeup, keep it really simple for your normal average day. Now, if I'm going on a date with my husband or doing something really special that day, I'll spend more time doing my hair more elaborately, but just for the average day, do something where you can get up and do it while you're still half asleep, and it's simple and fast and you can do it quickly. Sometimes too many choices can overwhelm us, sapping us of mental energy better spent elsewhere. So under that, I have get up before the kids. And if you have a nursing baby or are pregnant, there's always exceptions and stuff to this, but as a general rule, get up before your kids. Make sure you have time to get dressed and then mentally prepare for the day. Put yourself together, get dressed. It makes a difference with how I mentally feel that day. It makes a big difference in my attitude, which makes a big difference in how I react throughout the day. Tip, you can listen to an audio Bible while you're getting ready. And then make time, fight for time to have your devotions, to get in the Word and actually read it. For me, it really helps to make me feel at peace and put me mentally at a better place for that day. Whether you do that in the morning or the evening, either way, it's fine. Tip number 2 is routines or systems. A schedule is a very great servant, but a poor master. I like to make sure my systems are super simple. I'm not much of a schedule girl. I do better with rough routines with maybe an idea of the time frame for each thing, but it's not like I'm set in stone on those. I like processes that are super easy. If I keep them simple, I'm more likely to actually do them. If I make my systems overly complicated, nobody's gonna follow them, which makes it seem like a make-work program. So for example, pick up clutter several times a day. And I don't mean it has to be this big of a deal, just 5 minutes, guys, just 5 minutes. So for us, what we do is usually we always pick up clutter right before a meal. Now, not usually breakfast, but before lunch, just 5 minutes. The kids, they have to pick up their toys, put them away, pick up other clutter, put it away. So before lunch, we like to do this, and before supper, and before bedtime. Along with that, delegate. Get your kids to help. But keep in mind that it may not be done exactly how you want it to, but mentally be okay with that. For me, if the house is picked up the night before and the next morning when I come down the stairs and my house is clean and picked up, it makes a huge difference for me mentally, and it makes a big difference in my attitude for that day. And I feel like I'm already winning. Along with picking up clutter is declutter. If you don't have a home for stuff that's just laying around, find a home, make a home. And I often will ask myself 3 questions. 1 is, do I need this? 2 is, have I used it in the last 6 months to a year? And 3 is, do I love it? And if the answer to all 3 of those is no, then get rid of it. Declutter. If it is something sentimental that you do love, then find a home for it if you don't have a home for it. Like a decoration or something, use it. Or if it's something that you really want to save but you don't have a place to decorate with it, then put it in storage. Find a home for it. And one more routine that I have is laundry, and I just have a really simple one. I do it every day or every other day. I have to do it that often because of where we live. So what I do is I get up, I get dressed, and I go throw a load of laundry in, and it's just part of my routine. It's become a habit. So for you guys, maybe just have a laundry day to keep it simple so you know that on this day we're doing laundry. So another simple routine I have is for my kids, what I expect from them, and so they can kind of know what to expect from their day. So we have a rough time for our meals. Like I said, I'm not a schedule person. It's not like on the minute our meal is a certain time. But we have a rough time for our meals, and then I try to do preschool with the kids, and sometimes that's 5 minutes and sometimes it's up to 2 hours. It really depends on the day, how into it they are, and how much time I have. And then they have some free time, they can play, and then we have a rough time for our lunch, and then after that is naps for the baby and quiet time for my older kids. And then at 3 o'clock, or usually around there, we will go outside, get exercise. Because we live in a city, we have to be kind of creative, or like make sure it actually happens that we get outside the house. And if I get exercise in my day, that really helped me mentally. So 2 examples are, we'll go on a walk around the block with my kids, I involve them, or there's a little gym down the road that only costs like $1 to walk on the treadmill for an hour, and I can take my kids along with me, and there's some toys that they can play with and stuff. So that works really good, and it gets me out of the house, gets me exercise, and it gets the boys out of the house too. We're doing it together. Sometimes I'll also load them up and go to a park nearby. And then we come back, and it's usually supper prep, and then my husband comes home. I try to get the boys to clean up a little before he comes home so he can come home to a peaceful house, but it doesn't always happen, but we're trying. And then our evening's routine is just like supper and dishes, baths, playtime. We have like a story time, devotions with the boys, and then we put them to bed. And again, I might walk through the house and just straighten up a little bit before I go relax. So that's my rough schedule. It's not like I feel like I'm a slave to it. It's got lots of flexibility in it. So just a little thing I want to add here, routine is just a game plan for our day. It helps with the flow of the day. It really helps to create peace in my home. We are a really flexible family. A lot to do with because of where we live, but some to do with because we have little kids. Our schedule can change all the time, but there's a flow and a rhythm of what's expected and what happens when. It helps me and us to be more easygoing. Tip number 3 for being an efficient mom is make to-do list and menu plan. Prepare as much as you can in advance as possible. Do stuff the night before if you can. So that way the next morning you're not running around putting out a bunch of fires. Nothing is more motivating for me than a to-do list. Write it down. Otherwise you get mom fog and it gets all chaotic up in here and you just feel like you're not accomplishing anything, forgetting everything. So for me, for example, oftentimes the night before and I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep and I have all these things running through my head about what I need to do in the morning so I can get out the door or get certain stuff accomplished. So I'll make a list, I'll write it down on my phone, and then it's out of my mind, I don't have to worry about it. It's easier for me to go to sleep. In the morning I can just pull that list up and it really motivates me to get those things checked off that list. And one more little thing, this works good too with my husband, so I don't feel like I'm always nagging him. Hey honey, you know, fix this, fix that, it's been broken for however long and you still haven't got it done. Would I do that? No, never. So anyway, just write it down somewhere and say, hey honey, you know, I created this list with these couple things that need to be done. So then he knows about it and you know that he knows about it. You don't have to keep telling him. And it also works good for him for when he knows that, okay, I have a block of time here Saturday morning where I can like work on a couple of these things, and keeps a lot more peace in the house. Okay, my tip number 4 for being an efficient mom: when disciplining your children, be proactive with your discipline instead of reactive. Discipline is the practice of training people in a code of behavior, like this is wrong or this is right. I think this is something every parent struggles with. Our goal is to reach the heart of our child, because one day they're going to leave our home and I want them to choose to do what's right, not because they were taught not to get caught, but because they were taught to choose what's right. Be proactive with your child. Look for opportunities to teach them what's right and not just reacting to the bad behavior that you see in front of you. And guys, I know this is a hard one. It's one that I need to work on too. Okay, and my tip number 5 is smile. Choose to be joyful. Smile and laugh with your child. Smile and laugh with your spouse. If you plant a seed of joy with your spouse or with your child, even when you don't feel like it, you give them a smile, you laugh with them, I think that you will reap bountifully. It'll come back to bless you. Be optimistic and you'll start seeing your children copy it. If you're negative all day, I also know from experience that my kids will copy that also. So it all depends which wheel that you want to spin on. If you want to spin on the negative wheel where your kids are also reacting negatively to everything, or spin on the positive wheel where you're always looking for the good in the situation, finding the joy, going ahead and laughing at the spilled milk instead of getting mad at your kid. It really is hard to do sometimes mentally, but it can make a huge difference in your day and how it goes. And one little tip along with that is take advantage of the hellos and the goodbyes with your spouse. This was told to me by a friend, and I thought it was a really good advice. When your husband leaves or comes home, take advantage of those 5 minutes and hug him, kiss him, and talk about the day, talk about what is planned or what did happen. And those 5 minutes can add up to really help you guys to feel more connected, and especially emotionally, which I think is so important for spouses. Especially when your kids are little and there's constant interruptions, and it can be really hard to even like talk and ask each other how the day was. So for example, for Dewey and I, one thing that we've started doing is we'll take like 15 minutes when he comes home from work, where we don't always do this, but trying to, where we tell the kids like, hey, you can't interrupt mom and dad for 15 minutes. We're going to be here at the kitchen table talking. Oftentimes I'll be in the middle of cooking supper, so like I need to like just set down my knife from cutting vegetables and go greet him, welcome him home, and just ask how his day was. And it can be hard sometimes, because sometimes I'm like mentally like I'm trying to get supper done as fast as I can because I want to eat, because I feel like I'm behind already. But I think it's more important to connect with your spouse emotionally. So yeah, for example, what we do is we set a timer, 15 minutes, tell the kids they have to stay out in the living room unless it's a true emergency, and mom and dad need to talk for just a little bit and find out how each other's day were. And I think it's really important to connect emotionally with your spouse, and it's really good for the long-term marriage. It really helps to brighten my day. It helped me feel like listened to and heard, and that somebody cares that Johnny spilled the milk 5 times today already, and I had to wipe it up off the floor. And then also to find out my husband how his day was, what was going on in his life. It gives him a minute to like talk about if it was a bad day, and then for him to be able mentally to be able to switch gears and help with the little kids, help with supper prep or whatever it is that needs to be done so you can get to the relaxing part of the evening. Alright guys, I hope this was helpful. I enjoyed making this video, and I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys have efficient tips for moms, or just efficient tips in general, to comment below and leave them. I can learn a lot from you guys too. I just want to be an encouragement to you guys and uplifting, and hopefully I can help motivate you guys.